speakers. Am I audible to everyone?
Hi, Rohit, is there a problem at your end?
We'll just wait one more minute. I think. Rohit,
Yeah, I think he has to unmute. Rohit has to unmute. Yeah.
So we'll just wait for him 1 minute. We are so sorry that Rohit has gone into this thing. I hope. I wanted to apologize everyone. He's just joining us. Yeah, he's just joining us.
I'm really sorry, my internet and some technical problem with my laptop. Really sorry for the delay. So I would again like to start with the brief introduction of our guest speakers tonight. On our panel tonight is Mr. Ranedy Singh, the former Indian football captain. Ranedy is also presently mentoring the East Bengal football team in the ISL and is also the technical director of Classic Football Academy. He has been at the forefront in India and Manipur to help young players pursue a career in football. Now, our second guest tonight is Mr. Abhijit Barse. He is the CEO of an organization called Slum Soccer. Mr. Barse was elected to the network board of Street Football World, which is a strategic alliance partner of FIFA. And under his leadership, the organization also received the FIFA Diversity Award. His organization is also the representative from India in the Homeless Football World Cup. Our third guest speaker tonight is Ms. Sharanya Rao, the program manager at ATU. She is a national level ex-athlete from India and has been working with children in rural India and Nepal over the past 7 years. She is currently the program manager at ATU Nepal and has been teaching football and taking classes, conducting life skill sessions with young girls in the villages of Nepal. So I, on behalf of the entire team of Northeast and our audience tonight, wish to extend my gratitude and regards to all the three speakers for joining us today. So thanks a lot for this. And so we'll begin with the session today. And going forward, I would like to talk about a little bit about our own initiative, Teach for Northeast. So Teach for Northeast is basically a teaching fellowship program, which is intended to put children on a transformational learning path in schools while growing as leaders invested in education and development of Northeast. Our second initiative, which is a sports for development intervention, is intended to provide children with an atmosphere of inclusive education wherein they feel the need to attend school regularly. So it has been already 1 year now that we have been running these two interventions, and we are now in the process of reflection and dialogue with different stakeholders on how we can learn from the good and bad going forward. So let's get started with our conversation tonight. My first question is to Mr. Renedy. If you can share a little bit about your work you are doing presently and the reasons why you are doing this, given the fact that you have had good opportunities and offers from outside India. So what exactly prompted you to come back to Manipur and India and train and mentor young players here? Over to you, Renedy.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Yeah. If I have to say about my journey, I left from when I was 11. When I was 11, I got selected for the academy, the only academy, Tata Football Academy. That was in 1990, I think. I was studying in class 5. Yeah, so, but in those days, we didn't have a single good academy in Manipur. So yeah, so I was lucky enough to get selected in one of the best academy. But after I stayed in the academy for six and a half years, and after that I joined Mohun Bagan, and I played for the national team for 12 years and 19 years for the club East Bengal Mohun Bagan and Kerala Blasters. Then after playing for so long, I realized that Manipur produced most of the players, the highest number of players in India, and we don't have a single good academy. So now, all the talented players, of course, they get selected and they go to Bengal, they go to Maharashtra. It's fine, but then why can't we have a good academy so that we can have our own team? And for so many years, yes, 19 years, and while playing, you cannot do much. You have to concentrate on your game. But when I retired, straight away I became a Pune City assistant coach under David Platt, who was the Man City coach, who was a World Cupper. So that was my first assignment as an assistant coach, and I worked under Habas for 1 year again, who's coaching for Atletico, Kolkata. So then I realized that I have to get back and do something, give something, share my experience, whatever I had experienced for those 19 years, to the kids who are struggling. Manipur is one of the poorest states in India, and we don't have any facilities. And look how many sports persons we are producing. Be it Mary Kom, be it we can see Chanu yesterday, or Devi for yesterday. What she have done to the community, to the nation. So now this is without any facilities. So now if you want to have many Chanus, we really need to create a platform. I'm sorry. So we really need to create a platform. So so we know that if we try and depend on the government, yes, government need to be more organized. I'm not, I don't want to go against that, but if we depend on the government, it will take years and years. But while waiting for the government, the community service, the locality, or the ex-players who are retired like us, and I'm not saying that the retired players, they are doing their part now. So that's a good sign. For last 4 years, I see not only me, but there are many retired players who have started at academy, so that the young kids who are 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, they can have a good life through football. Yes, if you're good in academics, yes, you can take a different profession. But if you, of course, you have to balance. But if you're good in sports, you can have a good life also. So now if you see in ISL, I'm not talking about money, but players can earn 2 crores in 6 months, which is not bad at all. Which is not bad. A player like Sandesh Zingan, a player like Gurpreet, which is not bad at all. But I'm not saying that all the kids who are taking sports will become a superstar, no. But through sports, we can take away from bad habits. Through sports, he can have a disciplined life. So now, coming back to my journey. So yes, for last 3 years, when I got back 3 years back, I've opened an academy called Renedy Football School. Then we had 300, 400 players. But then for 1.5 years, in different parts of in the mainland India, Delhi, Bombay, there is a lot of academy where pay and play. You get 2,000 every month. You charge 2,000 or 3,000 every month, and to be more sustainable. But in a place like Manipur, you cannot charge because the players cannot afford to even to pay 20 rupees for the rickshaw or for the bus. So you can imagine Manipur is you cannot do pay and play, right? So 1.5 years I have to pay my 12 coaches. We have our 12 coaches. So it's very it's not easy at all. Then after working for 1.5 years, coaching is going nice. The kids are improving, but then I was struggling because of course I'm not a millionaire. I am not a Manchester United player. I don't have that much savings. So then luckily the Classic, who was sponsoring Neroka, the I-League team, for 4 years, and they came second in the I-League. So they said, we want to start an academy. So I said, then they said, why don't we work together? So now from Ranedy Football School, it has become Classic Football Academy. But forget about my name, as long as if my coaches are getting paid on time, if the young kids are getting a chance to perform, to showcase their skill, nothing better than that. Forget about my name, So yes, for last 3 years now, we have been working really hard to get better. And the same team, they drew with Neroka, they drew with different teams. So you can imagine the improvement, the development they had. So now it's not easy. Having said that, it's not easy at all, but I have to work so that we can produce many more. We are talking about, we played for India for 12 years, but we couldn't play for Olympics. We couldn't play for the World Cup. But if you have to do that, we really have to work on, we have to sacrifice a bit. It's not easy. So yes, and it's been difficult, but yes, we have to keep going so that the kids can get better chance.
Thanks a lot, Ranedy, for sharing your experience. And then I think I totally agree with you, given the limitation in terms of opportunities we have in India right now. So congratulations on the great work in doing in and outside India. Now I would like to request Dr. Abhijit to share a little bit about the work you are doing presently, especially if you can talk what motivates you to be in Maharashtra and work on empowering the lives of slum children through sports. Over to you, Abhijit. Abhijit, we can't hear you. I think you are on mute. You're not on mute, but then we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks. Just wanted to say, first of all, thank you, Rohit. Thank you, Matanvi. It's an honor to share this panel with Ranedy ji and Sharanya. Such a wonderful feeling to be here and share about our work. So, as you've already told, our work started in Vidarbha area of Maharashtra, which is, again, I'm based out of Nagpur. And it started with a very simple reason. The idea was, again, to give a playing opportunity for children living in slums in an organized manner. So they would come out and play, but it was never organized. So that was one of the first things we did. Today we are almost getting to 2 decades of existence here, and we have programs stretched across various parts of India. But the core remains same. Children love to play. And it's us who sort of sometimes take them away from the playtime. I think everyone, right from the beginning, we are all learning while playing. We may not realize it at times, but learning happens. You learn how to communicate with your teammates. You learn how to solve conflicts with your teammates. There are so many physical attributes that you can take up once you're playing. But the fact remains that once you start getting into the school, into the system, the play starts to take a second place. And at some point of time, suddenly play becomes just 2 periods in a week. And that too, if the teacher is happy, or if the teacher is okay, she'll or he will allow you to go on the field. And when you're allowed to do just what you want to do. This is where our focus now is. we want everyone to play, especially with programs that are now intervening in Jilla Parishad as well as municipal corporation schools. We are trying to address this anomaly, this big need of ours. We've introduced a very simple program to sort of make it more attractive for school to adopt to it, and we call it EduCick. The idea is again teaching basic mathematics, uh, life skills, and language skills, English, through the game of football during their PE period. So their hands are washed off. They say, okay, you can go ahead and take a session, and we get to play with children. In most of the cases, when we start, there is a lot of pushback from the schools, from the parents. It's weird. Children are always happy to play, but it's the parents or teachers who are like, no, bacche ke padhai ka kya hoga? It just, at that point of time, it's a push. But once you realize that the children are learning as well as playing, there we have a selling point. For most of our participants, especially this happened during the last year, during the lockdown, our programs went on from school to sometime for online, and as the restrictions came down, we started working on a limited scale in communities. For almost all of our children, this became the only highlight of their day. We would do sessions twice or sometimes thrice a week, and the children would very eagerly wait because this is the only time they would get to interact with other kids of their own age, learn something, and most of all have fun. We believe that the fun element of the game cannot be taken out. That is what leads to learning. And if you want successful programs to be run on for when you call it sports for development, especially, it needs to have an element of development right where it should be, very close to fun. Because
I agree. Yeah, I agree to that. I totally agree to that. That it has to be aligned to the development aspect. Yeah, and like I would like to take it to a different round of discussion. So that we can bring in more discussion and experiences. So I would like to request Sharanya to just give a brief introduction about your work a bit and what has been your driving force to work with children through sports in Nepal and India, and then we carry on forward with the larger discussion.
Thank you, Rohit. Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Madhanmi, Rohit.
Thank you.
To talk about my journey in the sports for development sector is I have been a sports person since my childhood. I have always been an active, player and been an athlete and participating in several sports. And then it was during my MA, and I was also very interested in always working with children. It was during my MA in education at Azim Premji University in Bangalore that I realized that I can use sports to also teach. Like sports can be combined with education. It was actually one of my my independent study, not thesis, but my major independent study was on how can you inculcate sports into the curriculum. So that sweet spot of like getting sports and teaching together and how that can help develop a child has been a real passion area for me for a long time. And I also found work in a similar space in India itself, in a place called Yuva, actually, in India. I think Abhijit is aware. And we met in Festival 16, actually, Abhijit, in Lyon. And so that was where I learned that how sports is actually used for also gender equality and for empowerment of girls and women in communities. And that has led me to continue my work in Nepal in the same space. So currently we work in Kapilvastu district in the south of Nepal, and where we use sports as a tool for development. Like Abhijit was saying, that sports is used for the development. So especially in the communities we work with, there is great gender discrimination that we see, where girls are not allowed to play or not expected to play, and there are very less opportunities and very less access for girls to sport. So we provide the space and the platform for girls to play football specifically, and that we have found that greatly has led to development of confidence and development of self-esteem and teamwork and leadership and a whole lot of other skills which within girls, which help them see themselves as capable of doing a lot more than what they thought of themselves to be doing. And we have really found this. We actually, Atoot was founded in 2019, even the co-founders of Atut have past experiences in a similar space of using sports for development, and which is why I think for girls in Nepal as well, and how that is how Atut was founded. And so yeah, we have found it very, very useful to use sports to help empower girls especially, and which will help empower whole communities as well. So that is what we currently do in Nepal, and yeah.
Thank you, Sharanya, for sharing your experiences. I think it's really inspiring to learn about your motivation for the work you all are doing. So thank you. And the reason why I was cutting in between, like even to Abhijit, was that the reason that we wanted it to be more elaborate in the next round of discussion, wherein I have some questions to ask specific to the three speakers tonight. So yeah, so again, coming back to Renedy, I would start with Renedy. I would request you to share your insights on why do you think sports is a vital tool for children to conflict regions. So if you can quote some reference from your experiences as a player and coach in Manipur. Over to you, Renedy.
Yeah. I think like Saranya has mentioned that small side game 5v5 6v6. So if we are losing 4-0 and we want to win the game, how do we survive in that? How do you win back after losing? So sports is a great tool, yes. But then how do we create in a place like Manipur where we see so many people are struggling? They don't even have a 20 rupees to come. So how do we create that atmosphere? I think now after the Mirabai Chanu, for the weightlifting fraternity, the whole community, he have lifted the whole community, yes. Football, they can see that years and years we have been producing so many. So now we need that awareness program. How many families in rural areas do know that how much the footballers are earning? So now my father never allowed me to play football because he himself was a footballer and he never could do much. So now he never allowed. So there are many, even though with this big social media thing, but still in rural areas, not many families knows about what if they can make a living playing football or playing sports. So yes, we need that awareness. We need that local community service. We need a lot of community service where we are allowing kids to perform. So now if you see in any school, especially in Manipur, if you see in any school, do we have playground? It has become a parking lot. It has become a place where cows can chill. So when we were young, we could see many empty grounds everywhere in our locality. But now it has all turned into a community building, right?
Yeah.
So now, so we have to create that. Somehow, if you don't create that, where are the kids going to play?
Yeah.
So now, if you see any ground, there's so many grounds, especially in Manipur, but are they maintained? Not at all. You go to any district, it's like it's a parking lot. So I think the ex-players, what we need to do is we need to create that platform. So until and unless we create that platform, we are not going anywhere. Forget about being a professional. Yes, but we need to create a local hero. So when we were young, right, Good Gulit, Van Basten, but then we have our local heroes also. So how do we create the local hero? And then you need that awareness program. And like I said, kids will come, they will come and play, but they need to enjoy. But if you don't, but you cannot force kids to play every time, right? You need to make the game more enjoyable. So how do we do that? So now we can hire coaches by paying a lot of money, but that's not sustainable. So we have to, from our own locality, we have to have coaches who has got license. We have to produce coaches first, spread out in every district, in every locality, and that he can start teaching in the right days. We do a tournament for 15 days. In Manipur, we say if it's a Holi time, everyone comes out and play, but Holi is not enough. So if you see in any school that 40 minutes twice in a week, is that enough? Not at all. So how do you balance with the studies? So you can always balance with the studies. You can play morning for 2 hours and evening 2 hours, you still have a whole lot of time to study. So how do you balance that? So now to create that nursery league, it's very, very important, I feel. Kids should play games at least thrice a week. They should train. On the weekend, they should play a game. And we should create that. Unless we create that league, we're not going anywhere. They need platform. First and foremost is the platform what we need to create. You can't wait for the government to fund, but we need to create. Unless we create that in every district, in every state, we are not going to. We are not going anywhere. But again, but what the retired players like me, I said, we are trying on their own. So like we have in Manipur, we have created a 5 months league where under 12, under 14, under 16, under 18, they can play every Saturday and Sunday for 5 months, just before the COVID. Unlucky that through COVID now we couldn't continue, but we will continue after when it gets better. So we need to have that 5 months to 8 months. So kids who are 11, 12 years old getting a chance to play every weekend for 8 months, that's the best thing. But this is how we
and I would also impact of drugs and violence, especially when it comes to Manipur or any conflict affected region. So how can sports become instrumental in bridging that gap? So if you can share something
so
about
now
that.
you have to keep busy. The kids, their minds are very fickle minded, right? You have to keep them busy. You have to keep them busy, and sports is such a best thing to keep them busy. Keep them thinking. So when your mind and body is stressed, I think you start thinking positive. So now like any sports you do, and that will take off from the bad habits. So and in the evening time, so when you have a lot of free time, kids start thinking in different ways. So if you are doing sports, you stay healthy, you stay disciplined, and that's the only way to take away from the bad habits and start thinking in a better ways.
Yeah, it should not only be about winning titles and games, but it's
also now.
Yeah.
So not at all. Not everyone, like you said, not everyone is going to become a professional player,
Yes.
2 crores, 3 crores. But they need to have a disciplined life. They need to have a routine life.
Yeah.
So now through sports you can have, and studies you can balance, you can have a routine life. You need to make more fun. So that's the only way I feel, and sports but not many people are doing that. Having said that, we may talk here a lot, but we have to start doing. That's why I feel that we are not doing enough. I think we have to do a lot more. If you do also, we do it for a month, but that's month. And what about the 11 months? So we need to do a lot more. And things have started, but I feel that in future, yes, we have to go on.
Thank you, Ranity. So, taking reference from what Ranity mentioned just now, that balancing the two, like the education and sports as well, and combining the two. My next question is from Abhijit. I would request you to elaborate on why do you think sports needs to be considered as an integral part of children's right to education? Over to you, Dr. Abhijit.
Thanks. So I think I brushed up on this topic when I was
that's why I was cutting you off.
So see, our natural form right from the beginning is play. Like early on when a child is growing up, he's given a lot of stimuli to react to. The parents are encouraging, the siblings are encouraging the child to play. And when the child starts to grow up, slowly the play element is being taken out of his or life. By the time the child enters a school, it sort of like becomes even more restrictive for them. Whereas most of the things that the child has learned so far has come from interacting and learning and interacting and playing with others, which means that play can continue to be a major part of learning. I don't know if you're aware about this simple saying which says that padhoge, likhoge, banoge nawab, kheloge, kudoge. This has been the mindset. For those who don't understand, it just literally says that if you play, you will become, how can I say, not well earning, and if you don't play and study and focus on just development, you will become a big person. So that set of mindset is not only deeply entrenched in the parents, it is also resonates, it finds its root in the schooling system also, whereby when the child enters into a school, he's already like considered ki padhai is the first thing to go to, and sports, any form of sports, needs to be sort of set aside. That leads to this current situation where none of the grown-ups are keen on a lifelong engagement in sports. And again, that is a separate topic. But coming back to the part ki, like, I know Sharanya has used similar methods, so I might broach a little bit on her topic also. So playing while learning, or rather teaching things when they are not paying attention to learning, is such an important tool. You can make learning environment on a play field within a structure. Our curriculums, they, like, if I want to teach a child about mathematics, and especially in settings where they don't even have basic awareness about numbers, or where the child starts to fumble about making minor calculation, all of those things can be done in a very non-classroom based setting, which encourages the child to ask questions, talk to other children, find out answers. Peer learning, in other words, can be deeply encouraged at a very basic level on the play field. And you never know. So I'll speak a little bit about our program called Educate, where we are teaching maths and financial literacy a little bit, and life skills, what we today call them 21st century skills, all through the medium of football, on a football field during the PE period. It's a 45-minute session. Sometimes it goes on to 1 hour. But the amount of learning that happens, forget about learning, the amount of fun that happens, the amount of new things they hear about on a non-classroom play settings. We have seen through our research that the number of questions they ask inside the classroom, once they are done with the session, shoot up like anything. And if that is the indication, you can very well see how this can lead to encouraging children to ask more questions, be more open, and be more vocal about what they want to know or don't want to know about. Sort of giving empowerment to them during the field session, so that they know that they can learn more in the process. I don't know if I've answered your question, all of it, but yeah.
I think it gave us a direction on how sports can be become a tool of teaching kids basic mathematics and language skills, right? So I think that has to be there whenever we talk about education, because it has again become the brick and mortar setting wherein children are going inside the classroom and chalk and classroom board they are using and teaching. So I think an alternative way of approaching education is also the need of the hour. So I totally agree with what Educate and what Slum Soccer is doing. So thank you and congratulations on that.
Rohit, if I can just interrupt, can I put a question to Abhijit?
Gayatri, I would request you to park your question in the chat box, and then we can take it up later, right?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So lastly, my topic of discussion for Sharanya is like how can we use sports to reduce gender inequality in our schools? So that is.
Thanks, Rohit.
Yeah. Thank you, Sharanya.
So yes, I mean, sports doesn't see gender, right? Sports is sports. Sports is one of the greatest equalizing platforms we have seen across, I mean, through many, many generations. And we see it during our cricket matches, hockey matches, football matches, anything. Like sports is equalizing religion, caste, creed, nation, everything. And we're also feeling this during the Olympics right now, where we're seeing so many, athletes participating, and you're cheering them on irrespective of who they are, where they're from. So yeah, sports does not see gender. Sports is sports. And I think that very fact is very liberating for girls. And I think what Abhijit said is our natural form is play, right? I agree 100% with a lot of things Abhijit said. And our natural form is play. But what unfortunately happens for girls is that natural form is stopped at a much earlier level, at much younger age, when girls are, stopped from playing and stopped from exploring physically. Like if you see a girl climbing a tree, they'll be like, "Arey, gir jayegi, arey, chot lag jayega, arey, mat karo." But if you see a boy climbing a tree, you'll be like, "Arey, ha, ye matlab maze kar raha hai," types. So it's a deep entrenched mindset where girls are not allowed to explore themselves physically and find their own strengths and things like that. And in the communities we work with in rural Nepal especially, we have seen this a lot more. And this form of controlling or restricting the girl and not allowing her to play and not allowing her to mingle outside, and especially once she has attained a certain age, all of this is really, it restricts her, and it's very difficult for girls to have access to these things. So actually so what Atut does is we conduct educational classes, and we also have football sessions for girls. We work with girls between the ages of 5 to 18. So we have a large age range of girls coming to us, and we conduct football sessions for them, where it is not, we don't focus on development of skill per se. We don't focus on, like, we don't want to create footballers. That is not our goal. We want to use the sport to help develop a lot of other skills, like what Abhijit was saying, and leadership, teamwork, self-confidence, a lot of other things. So during one of our monitoring and evaluation sessions, actually, we were conducting interviews with some of the teachers at a government school where many of our girls study, and they attend our program after the school they study at. And one of the teachers, during his interview with us, he was stating that during our sports day this year, we saw so many girls participating in sport, compared to the past years. लड़कियां खुद से आके बोल रही थी कि सर हमें भी नाम लिखवाना है, हमें भी नाम लिखवाना है, and they were coming forth on their own, which was a huge change for him. He was like, I was very surprised to see this happening, and their confidence and their motivation from themselves to come and participate was so much, and it was very heartening for us to see that continuous sporting activity and continuous playing in the field has given them such determination and such motivation. And in fact, he said that almost all the prizes were won by girls that year. He said only one grade 1 से एक लड़का and grade 6 से 2 लड़के जीते, and everything else was won by girls, and we were so surprised. We had not imagined कि ऐसे हो सकता है. And I think that line of his also is very indicative of what people and communities we work with generally, and even schools, they think कि ये भी हो सकता है, कि लड़कियां भी खेल सकती हैं, and it's not very common in our part of the world, sadly. As an ex-sports person myself, I have seen the challenges that girls face through their school and college and a lot of other times, because girls are not encouraged to participate. We don't have enough opportunities. We don't have a lot of things which other males have the access to. And another important thing we have seen through sports is, while sports is used for gender equality, even more than bettering the girl and giving the girl strength and things like that, it is also to sensitize the boys. We have found that you can also, when you sensitize the boys and other people in the community ki oh ladki bhi kar sakti hai ye, it is when they see girls in the sports field, especially where we work, the role of a girl, there are very stereotypical gendered roles in the community. ladki ghar pe hi rahegi, she has to be at home, and jaldi shadi ho jayegi. That is another challenge the girls we work with face, is child marriage. Actually, according to the latest census data, Nepal census data, 62% of the girls in Kapilvastu are married between the ages of 10 to 19. So 62% is a huge number of girls, and these are just the reported figures. So you can imagine the actual figures are even more than that. So it is deeply culturally entrenched कि लड़की शादी करके घर पे बैठेगी, चूल्हा जलाएगी, बच्चे पैदा करेगी, and that is her role, and that is all she's meant to do. So through sports, and when I think even boys at a young age, when they see girls participating in sports, and when they see them doing things outside the home and outside things which they are supposed to be doing, is I think it also helps change that mindset of the people. And definitely, so this is how I think some of the things in which sports brings about a lot of gender equality. And with respect to especially schools, if in schools, when girls have the opportunities to participate in sports and participate in a lot more activities, it will also be something for the girl to look forward to, other than just coming to school. And unfortunately, the situation is the education is not very good. So the girl, when she comes to school, she's just sitting, कुछ करते हैं, लिखाते हैं, क ख ग घ बुलवाते हैं, and they send them home. So there's no motivation for the girl to even come to school, really. But if there are other platforms and other opportunities, such as participating in sports and participating in team events, and representing her school, representing her district, her things. And she will even be motivated to go to school and say, "Arey, main school jaungi, I will play and I will do something with my life." So I really think it'll help in school retention rates and motivating girls to also come to school for things other than just padhai, the stereotypical padhai that happens in schools. So yeah, I think these are some of the ways in which sports can greatly help reduce gender inequality, not just in schools, but in societies and communities overall. So yes.
So thank you, Sharanya, for talking, giving us a different. Yeah, Randy, please.
Rohit, I want to add a little bit on here. Like things are changing. If you see in our part, in Northeast, especially in a place like Manipur, you see Mary Kom, you see Mirabai.
Yeah.
2 silver, 1 bronze, and 1 silver medalist. So now there are a lot of female who are taking part in football, taking part in sports, who are there training every single day. And Manipur still, even in the women's, they're also a women's team champion. So now Manipur, at least things are getting better. I know that female sports in India has been neglected for many, many years, as we will be bringing female World Cup under 17 or under 18 World Cup very, very soon. So there's a lot of focus on that. So now there are many kids who wants to become a professional. So when we do a community service, we need to invite those great stars who have done well. So now, for example, Bala Devi was India's best player, and this year also she is India's best player. So now she played in Rangers in Scotland. No female has ever played there. So why don't we invite and create that environment? Why don't we invite when we do a community service, so that the family knows, so that the kid knows. So when I was 11-year-old, football khel ke kuch nahi hoga. That's what my father said. But through my seniors who have played for the Indian team, who have went to Europe. So now usse mere ko, that I got that motivation. Yes, I can do better than them. I have to be. So now this is the best way. When you are doing a community service, you have to involve these people like we are doing over here. So things are changing. So now there are a lot of female players doing really well. So now that's why I said, when Mirabai Chanu bringing a silver medalist, is a media. I don't want this to be a media stunt, everyone posting for 3-4 days, and after that everyone will forget. So now when we have this, we have to take advantage of this recognition, get a better academy, so that the young kids who can, also become better than Mirabai Chanu. So Bala Devi is a great example for the female football over here, that if she can play in Europe, there are many more Bala Devi who can play. So things are changing. It's not that it's getting worse. It is, but it has to get better.
Yeah.
Definitely, Ranidi, I agree. I think having great female role models also is a huge. That is what we lacked when I was growing up. I didn't have any real female role model sports person. So like you said, creating this ecosystem and encouraging a lot more sports persons, so that there are so many more role models for the children to look up to and aspire towards. I think that will really greatly help in changing things.
Yeah. And especially like localizing it to the context of primary schools as well, right? So that we can also bring in representations from worldwide to these schools, so that these school children also get to see that what are the aspirations they can take forward in sports for future. So I think that is also there. Great. I would like to come to the last round of the session tonight. So I just have a common question, and then we can go ahead with the Q&A session for any speakers, any questions if they have, our viewers have tonight, so they can ask to our speakers. So lastly, I just would request all the 3 speakers to share their thoughts on why do you think every child should have access to sports, irrespective of what their background is and whether they play good or not, or whether they are interested in sports or not. Why should they have at least the access part of it? So just a brief on that, and then we can move ahead with the Q&A. Anybody can go ahead.
When you are healthy, you have a healthy body, healthy mind, you can do anything in life. So now through sports, you can stay healthy. Through sports, you can have a healthy mind. And when you have that, things follow. Everything will follow automatically. So through sports, that's the only way. And that's the best thing.
Yes, that is the only way. Sports. Totally agree.
Absolutely. Just adding to that, the lady earlier said that, just because only 5 or 10 children make all the way to the top, should we stop investing in our children? Should we stop them from playing? No, that's not how you should look at sports to begin with. Because sports means having an opportunity to be physically around with people of your age and to, the team that sweats together, learns together and plays together and everything, and all of that follows. That's the basic essence of children having to play. I mean, most of our lifelong friends we've made only on football field, on playgrounds. That stays with us. So that would be my argument for every child to be able to come out and play.
Of course, definitely. And also, education does not just entail maths and science and history and geography. Education, I think sports is education. Like sports gives you life education. It gives you so many skills and innumerable skills. It is, yes, sports is education. that is all I can say. It develops you as an individual holistically. It develops not just your academic potential and everything, but it develops your character, and it develops your character strengths, your personality, your emotional well-being, your physical well-being, your psychosocial, everything. So sports definitely is an all-round teacher, I would say, and very, very important for all children to have access to play throughout their childhoods and throughout their lives even. As adults, we really lose touch with the sports part of ourselves, but I think it's very, very important to for sports to be a part of your lives for everybody. So yes.
Totally. If you see India, people who are over 40 or 30, look at them. So that they forget what sports is all about. So if they can continue till 40, 50, they look too old when they are 30, right? So now what they should do some sports. It's not only the kids, but everyone should be in sports, so that they're healthy and we stay positive. When you do sport, the best thing about it is you stay positive the whole day. When you are stay positive, there's not much negative going on. You don't have time to talk bad about people. There are many things that sports teaches you. The positivity that we get from running or from doing any sports, that's the best thing.
I think we have a lot of positivity from Renedy, because he still today he runs 15 kilometers a day, and I think that is something we can always take from him, because we already look so old in our 20s. I think that is something we should take care of.
You better run, right? You better run.
I will. So one question I would like to take up here to our speakers, that given the pandemic, what are the kind of challenges you all have encountered in your specific fields vis-a-vis the sports for development, considering that children have been stuck at home for most part of the year, and it's been 2 years almost now. So what have been your experiences with regards to this?
Okay.
Yeah.
And so now for last year, we have stopped the training the team training for 8 months. And this year, March, April, May, June, July, so 4 months already. So what we do is there are many things in a small space. Of course, there are many players who cannot go out from the house, but luckily Manipur has got a lot of training grounds nearby, So what we try and give the program where what they can do at home. So there are very small things, a ball mastery, or if you're not doing with the ball, there are many strengthening exercises, core and back. So we have been doing that so that we don't miss out. So when we come back after the pandemic, so we don't have to start from zero. So now if they concentrate on the speed work, they can in that 20 yards or 15 yards, you can do so many things. So we are trying to give those programs so that when they come back, they maintain the same, so they don't go down. So in football, if you lose we are losing almost 1 year now, 1.5 years. Yeah. It's a big thing. For a 12-year-old losing 1.5 years, it's a big thing. So we are trying our best along with our coaches to try and give program every single day so that they can do 1 hour in the morning and 2 hours in the evening so that they can maintain their fitness. Otherwise, we will not be able to, play properly when they come back. So that's what we have been doing. It's a struggle. It's not easy. I know that, kids, they just want to play games. But now, if you want to be a professional from our part, if you want to be a professional, we have to maintain all this program. Yeah. So that's what we have been trying. And they have been sending all their training programs on videos on our WhatsApp group. So that's good to see. So now at least the young ones here, they are really disciplined, some disciplined players. So it's been good.
Yeah. And I think if Sharanya and Abhijit can talk about, like, as a young organization for Teach for Northeast, also it has been a huge challenge on how do we engage our children through sports and our school intervention. So, what has been your experiences and how did you handle this challenge?
Definitely, COVID
Yeah.
was a bumper for all of us, I think, and COVID just changed so many things. And we have unfortunately not been able to restart our complete programming in Nepal till date. After the lockdown began in March 2020, I'm even lost track of years now. In March 2020, when it began, after that, the Nepal government has not fully allowed programming with children to restart. Schools had started a little bit in the during the middle, and then the second wave came again, and then again everything has been shut. So we have not been able to restart complete programming with children in the field, but we had left our equipment, our football equipment at the school. So we had given children access to that. We said, you can take out all the material you need to and you can continue playing. And where we work, a lot of them are largely from agriculture, not largely, only from agricultural backgrounds. So during the lockdown, a lot of them were very much into farming. A lot of agricultural activity picked up pace because everyone had nothing else to do. So they were physically active almost throughout the day in their fields. And they would call us and say, oh, during when we were doing this, we practiced this exercise today and we practiced that exercise today. So the children were still in touch with a lot of the activities and things we did during our sessions with them, and we've been in touch with them over the phone and things like that. But unfortunately, we are yet to restart, which we will soon hope to in the next month or so. So yeah,
Yeah.
it has been a very big challenge. Definitely, COVID has put a spanner in our works. Definitely.
Abhijit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think between the two of them, they've covered mostly everything. The only part was like, so we work in slums. So sometimes sort of focusing on what is the most urgent and important need becomes our focus over there. Like in some cases, we had to start with food distributions. I know everybody has done them, but that was that. And then sort of starting to go back into the place where how do we engage them, how do we convert our in-person content to be delivered online. Now those are the challenges that we faced, but children are always eager to learn, and they are the ones who actually find the way more than we can imagine. They are the ones who are like more eager. So in some of the instances where we knew that these are small pockets where they can play amongst themselves, they are physically sort of away from others, we would drop some equipment and try to send them videos on WhatsApp and just try and engage them. There was no set methodology. We would empower our local grassroots coaches as much as possible to make sure that they are the ones who are able to address the local needs. In some of the instances, like right now, we are allowed to take sessions, physical sessions. So we've started very recently with a very low number of participants per session. But yeah, I mean, we are hopeful that this situation continues and that we are able to sort of invite more and more children. Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you so much. I think it has been a great learning experience in this 1 hour conversation, and I think it will always remain less. I think it's always less time for us to discuss these topics, but I think it's just the start, and going forward we have a lot to learn, especially with the good work that's happening across all the regions through all of you. So congratulations and thank you so much on that. I don't know if we can take up more questions given the interest of time.
I think we can, Rohit, we can take up 2-3 questions.
Okay.
Journalists
So
have been asking a lot. And then I'll just ask one question. I think this is a question which has been asked, which has been sent to me and told to ask to Reniti for quite a lot. So, so in India, there are 1.2 billion population, one of the largest population, and then only 11 players play in the field, right, Brother Andy? And then in that 11 players, out of this 1.2 billion, just 1% becomes the captain, and then you have let the country being the captain, and that's a huge achievement that we have from our region. So one question. Just one sec. So one question which people have been asking me, and which I wanted to also ask in lines with the region where we come from, is that why with so much of limited resources and the limited accessibility that we have in place like Manipur or other parts of Northeast, that we have so many high achievers in this field of sports. Example, whether it's in football, whether it's in Olympics, why do we have very high achievers? Right? What has been the resilience, or what do you think is the reason that we, as a region with so much limited resources, we aspire and then we are able to achieve that? So if you can share a little bit about that, I think, yeah.
Yeah, Mathan, I feel, yeah, can you guys hear me? Yeah, I think it's a very good question. Yes, Manipur, everyone in the world, if you see football or sports, they play for the love of the game. But in Manipur, more than the love of the game, they see football to a good life. They see through playing sports, they see to a good life, and that's the way to survive for them. So now, when in rural areas, for them to study or to become an IS officer, to become a doctor, they find it more difficult. They feel that with the talent that they have, and they see, if they play any sports, look at Mirabai Chanu again, look at Mary Kom again, look at all the footballers who have come from a difficult background. Yes, they love the game, but all they were thinking, I know, like I have 450 kids in our academy, we have 450 kids. So, and most of them, 400 of them are struggling. So they love to play the game, but what they are thinking is how quickly they can start earning. So they have seen many players from us that I've started earning when I was 17 and a half. So now there are many other like 100 or 200 players from Manipur starting at the age of 17, 18, 19. So they're all earning in lakhs. So they see that, if this player can earn in 17, 18, 19, why can't we also? So now with this Mirabai making it through the world level, so now there are many more. How many kids or the kids the girls, they will be wanting to become like a Mary Kom or like a Mirabai, and how many footballers wanting to earn 2 crore, 3 crore, and they can see in front of them that these players are earning. Why don't we help our family? Right now we don't have a proper food to eat twice, but if we play football, if we do sports, when we turn 17 or 18, we will be able to help our families more than anything. So we will be able to help our families more than anything. Forget about having a car, having a big car, or having a big house. First thing is to help their families through sports or through football. And I feel that more than the love of the game, they see football to the way to good life. This is what I feel. And that's why, without any facilities, compared to Delhi, compared to Maharashtra, compared to Calcutta, Manipur don't have any facilities. In spite of this, we are still producing so many. Why? That's the dedication, and that's what they want to help their families. They want to come out from the life that they're struggling. And I see many coming out, and that's why I think we have started, trying to help, to share our experience, so that if we can help them a bit. There are 2 players from my academy playing. They have never played in under 16. They have never played in under 19. They played straight away after 3 years, straight away in ISL. So from nowhere, from father, no money, mom, they don't have any money, but still, when they are 16 or 17 and they have started earning. So now the other players are also thinking the same way. If these players, 2 players can earn, why we cannot earn? So now it's just to help the family. And Manipur, exactly, Mathan, I think that's why we produce so many more than the love of the game. And I know in big cities, there are many players, they just love to play, but they don't have that, So now, but in Manipur or in Northeast, it's different.
Mathan,
I think we just go to the chat box, and I think we can take 1-2 questions, and then after that, till 8:15, we can take it on, and after that, we can end the session.
Okay. So one more question which has come up is with regards to schools. So why schools don't take sports seriously, and what can be done, in schools that sports can be taken up seriously in schools. So this is open to all the speakers. If anyone would like to share their inputs. Sharni, you want to go ahead? So I've just combined two, three questions together, basically with regards to schools, that schools generally don't take seriously, I mean, the sports part of it, but then sports person, they really value what sports is all about. So how can we inculcate that ecosystem in schools itself so that they also start valuing sports as an integral part of education? So if any
Sorry,
insights
I
and
think I was
inputs in
having some
that? Yeah.
technical issues.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think like I said, I think that sports is such an integral part of education itself, and I think something that needs to be done with schools is to help them realize that education is that is what is happening with the education system today. Is the education is too like for a capitalist society. You are educated to become a doctor, to become an engineer, to become something which will help you get money. So like Renedy was saying, like while sports can be a very useful tool in generating income for oneself as a career itself, uh, when that really happens is I think when sports schools will really start taking sports seriously. Oh, we can, this is a money making path for them. But more than that, I think what needs to be done at a more capacity building level for teachers itself during teacher training is to get them to realize the value of sports in the all-round education of the child, where education is not just money oriented and not just creating just for the degree, but education is for the sake of developing the individual. So I think if that can be taught, or that can be like somehow inculcated in the education system, or with teacher training, or with when you uh, conduct trainings for even the school management and things like that, to get them to see the value of sport itself in the overall development and all-round development of the child, is I think it would really help schools giving more priority to sports in during the school year overall. I think that is one way I can think of.
Rohit, you're on mute.
Right, your mic is mute.
Okay. So any inputs I would like to request Abhijit, if the way they introduced EduKick project in school, and what were your challenges when you tried to introduce sports as a medium in school with teachers especially?
So first of all, they were not aware. Like the question was, how is this possible? That was one of the first questions we had to convince them. How can you teach something through sports? We had to sort of develop demo sessions and go and for us, luckily, the pilot that we did was in one of the schools that was about to shut down, so they had no other options. They in a primary school which is supposed to serve 200 girls, and this is again in a Muslim dominated community, we were able to get in because one of the coaches who works with us comes from that community, and we got a permission. So that was one thing. In 6 months, the girls were able to showcase what they had learned. We just used that case to invite other school teachers to come and see that. In some of the cases, we would take the children and showcase how they have learned. So a lot of this mix and match happened to get as much as support as we could. Luckily, during that phase of time also, we had a few international footballers come down and visit that particular slum. That sort of created a very positive thing going in our favor. So even if they were not fully convinced about just the football for development part, they were like, okay, if these guys have international football coming in, maybe we can gain something out of it. So it was a mixture of all of these. Nowadays, what we do is we will give very nice demo sessions. The presentations don't really work in government schools. You have to show them what is capable of. You have to invite them for after every alumni passes from our program, wherever we invite the schools to show how what they have learned and how they have progressed, and this helps a lot now.
I would like to take take up one more question, which is the last question, and that is, I think, to Renedy from one of our teaching fellows. So she asked that Manipur is one of the sports powerhouse of the nation. However, participation of people or sports person from hill districts of our state seems to be very low as compared to those belonging to the valley districts in any national and international level. My question is, what can be the reason of this, and what can we do to increase their participation?
Okay, so now, of course, yes, the pioneer of Manipur football, a person who have started playing football, who started playing for the Indian national team, Kiran Kongsai, is from the hilly area, and so now you can imagine if Kiran Kongsai is a pioneer, it's not a guy, a Maitai or anyone, so it's from the hilly place. So now we can imagine, and there are many players in my academy, 450, the boys from the hills. 200 will be boys from the hills. So you can just imagine in our elite boys, we have got good elite 90 players. In that, maybe 60, maybe from the hills. So there are many. So things were, for 10, 20 years back, there was a player called Soso Samotai Saija. He is from Ukul. So he is from the Ukul district. So there are players, yes. Many years back, we don't see many players, but now there are many young players who are from the hilly areas and doing well. But the thing is, but I can totally understand it's been neglected. But you don't have one good ground in Ukul. You don't have one good ground in Chandel. So you don't have one good ground in Tamelong. Not even in the valley also the same. So this is a problem not only for the hills but for the plain areas as well. That Manipur, in spite of producing the most number of players, we still don't have a single ground. Like I said at the start of the show, all the football ground has become a chilling place for the cows. Right? All the football ground has become a parking lot. So all the football ground has become a community meeting center. So now this has to stop. So can we blame the government? Can we blame the district? No, the locality, the community has to do it. So community has to create a training, a football ground where the kids can come and play. Forget about training, this training, that training. Create a platform, create a training ground, just leave it. So when you go to any European city, say for Amsterdam, there are many five-a-side grounds, just like we can go. We don't here. If you go to any five-a-side ground or seven-a-side ground, you have to pay for 1 hour 1,500. Why do kids cannot pay, right? So you have to create the training field where any kids can come and play. So when we are 11, 12, those days we could go anywhere and play. Now can you do the same? No, there is no place to play. So we need to create in hilly areas or in a plain areas, we need to create a platform, a football ground or a sports center where the kids can come. I'm not asking for the most expensive AstroTurf. No, yes, if the government can provide AstroTurf. I always say that AstroTurf is not good for knees or good for ankles. But there are many AstroTurf around because when a place like Ukul, and I know that because of the weather, you cannot maintain the ground, the natural grass. So that's where we need to keep the AstroTurf. So then while you're waiting for government, you may have to wait another 10 years. So whatever you have, maintain it. Kids can come and play, right? That's the way to start. And from there, you can have an academy, and from academy, you can go to a professional. So like as the academy, where we are trying to have centers in different districts, this is what we are trying. We have 3 centers now. So we want to have more so that kids can have a chance to play. So for hilly areas, my question is, please, locality people, create a platform for the kids. That's the first way. But our mentality needs to change. In hilly areas or plain areas, our mentality still, in spite of producing so many, our mentality for sports, they think that they only talk about sports. Yeah, like I said, when there is a Holi, when there is an Olympic, when there is a World Cup, sports have to be throughout the year, at least 10 months.
Yeah, correct. Thank you, Renedy, for clarifying that glitch. I think that representation which you talked about, especially with the kind of work you are doing, I think that talks a lot about the kind of opportunities children and young players from hill and from plain areas have. So thank you for clarifying that. And I totally missed out on Gayatri's question. So this would be just the last question, and then we'll close down. So Gayatri, if you can just ask your question directly.
Oh, I've already asked and it's been answered in the chat. I've
Okay.
asked 2 questions. Yeah, so
Okay.
thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So yeah, now I would request Mathangni, I would hand over to him to extend a vote of thanks to all our speakers tonight. Thank you so much from my side.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, everyone, for the wonderful discussion that we had. I think it was so much needed. Even us, we many a times feel that we know so many things. We are working with sports, we are working with children, but many a times we need to know what are the works that is going on in different parts of the country as well as different other countries, and then think about revisit again what is the vision, that why we are doing this, and then how we can push it forward. So thank you so much, Abhijit. Thank you so much, Saranya and Randy. I know all of you are very busy person. I hope we can meet in person, hopefully when the COVID is over, and then deliberate more. And we would love to have 3 of you come to our organization in a place called Kamjong, and then see how our kids and what are they doing, so that what is the way forward we can deliberate on that, right? So thank you so much, and thank you everyone, all the participants who have joined in, and then have a lovely evening, and I hope everyone will stay well and stay safe. Thank you. And very sorry that
Thanks a lot,
Thank you so
everyone.
much.
very sorry that we have not been able to answer all of the questions. Hopefully, we will take down the questions, and then we will be reaching out to our panelists individually if there is any more questions, and they can respond it to you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.